All right, folks, we want to thank you for participating in today's NCAA Women's Basketball Championship first round pregame press conference with the University of Oregon. Today on the podium, we are joined by sophomore guard Katie Fiso and sophomore forward Ahis Atute. Ladies, congratulations on your journey so far, and we welcome you here. We'll take questions from the folks in Austin to begin with. Please state your name and affiliation prior to the question.
Hi, Danielle Lerner with USA Today. This is for Katie. What has allowed you to take such a big leap from your freshman year to this season?
Yeah, I would say just the confidence, the confidence that my coaches has instilled in me, the work that I put in over the summer, and then just the confidence that I have in myself, I place my confidence in Jesus, who gives me my confidence. There's a lot of up and downs in this sport, trying to be consistent through that. So just realizing that I put the work in over the summer, so just,
Next question here. State your name and affiliation, please.
Yeah, Rob Mosley with Oregon. For both of you, just getting here this morning and seeing the signage, and you're back, but you're back here playing much different roles for the team to get here, and then presumably tomorrow. Just could you both speak to just did it feel different than kind of when you got to this stage last year? Did it feel the same? Just could you each speak to what those early impressions were like this morning?
I mean, I think it kind of just felt the same. And you're always kind of just overwhelmed by everything that's going on and how much effort people put into this. So for me, it felt the same. I didn't think about my role.
Yeah, I would say kind of the same. Just a new position, a new role this year. A lot more expectations this year, a lot more responsibilities. So just, putting more thought into that. But other than that, just the same thing, coming here to hoop, have fun, get some dubs.
Danny Davis with the Austin American Statesman. For both players, excuse me, I guess since you're both sophomores, you don't really remember the Pac-12 days, but how much did playing in the Big Ten the last 2 years kind of prepare you guys for the NCAA tournament and what you expect?
Yeah, the Big Ten has prepared us a lot. There's a lot of great competition in the Big Ten, and Coach always said it to us. All our games, we played like 16 games where it was really close at the end. So I feel like those games had prepared us for March Madness games like this. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the Big Ten Conference, you can't really take any games off. So that will always prepare you for, obviously, when it comes to March Madness, hopefully that will help and translate over. So I don't really remember the Pac-12 days. I wasn't there.
Katie, if I could ask you to elaborate on some of the things you did to build your confidence, what were those things on the court and off the court that you did last summer?
Yeah, a lot in the weight room. My first year, I remember always just getting pushed to the floor. There's a lot of bigger guards in the Big Ten, a lot of bigger players in the Big Ten. So adjusting to that was really hard at first. So weight room was definitely the biggest thing for me. And then just being on balance on my finishes, making the right play, making the right read off ball screens has helped me a lot. And my coaches helped me a lot during the summer. And then just off the court, the mental part of the game, there's a lot of other things that come to this basketball, but the mental part is really key for me. Staying consistent, staying not too high, not too low, and realizing that, hey, one bad mistake doesn't determine who I am as a basketball player, and just relying on the work that I put in, so.
Mark Berman, the Roanoke Times. Katie, being the team's leading scorer, but also obviously having so many assists, how do you kind of juggle those two roles? What's kind of your mentality about them?
Yeah, I feel like being a scorer also helps me find my teammates. When people are collapsing in on me, it helps me find my teammates better, help me find he's better. If they're collapsing too on me, he's is there for the drop-off. If they're collapsing too on me, the kickback there. So being a scorer definitely helps my passing. So.
David Cunningham, Tech Sideline. Katie, when you guys have been clicking this year, playing your best basketball, what attributes do you feel like have stood out the most from your team? Go back to 2 Big Ten tournament wins. What did you like about how you guys played that you kind of carry over to the NCAA tournament?
Yeah, we say this a lot. We have a lot of depth on our team. When we move the ball, when we get to the third side of the floor, when everybody's touching the ball, we're a dangerous team because we have so many threats, so many offensive threats and so many defensive threats. So utilizing those threats, finding the hot hand, because some nights it could be me, some nights it could be a he, some nights it can be someone else who's coming off the bench. So utilizing the hot hand, finding the hot hand, and just having fun. We have a lot of fun with this team. So I think that's the biggest thing that carries over.
Just a reminder for those who are joining us on Zoom, if you'd like to ask a question, please use the raised hand function to indicate that you'd like to ask that question, and we will call on you. Right now, we're going to go back to Danny Davis, Austin American-Statesman. Danny?
Since we're in Austin, I got to ask, what kind of players your sister, since she's going to be coming here next year, and how excited are you to have a, sister playing D1 ball with you next year?
I mean, I'm really excited for my sister that she gets to play here. Like, Texas is a great school, so I'm really excited for her and the opportunity that she gets. And I did call her yesterday, and then she was like, yeah, I just want you to know I'm rooting for Texas. And I was like, damn. Like, so blood doesn't matter these days anymore. Like,
You get a lot of rebounds, a lot of offensive rebounds. What's kind of enabled you to become so good in that areas, and what's kind of your mindset in terms of when you're trying to get those rebounds off the glass?
well, I think most of those rebounds are my own. So, like, if I wouldn't miss, I don't think I would get them. But, like, just, like, keeping with it and just sticking with it and, like, fighting. Like, rebounding is all about your mindset and just, like, going for it. So I think that's what gives me the opportunity to get them.
Do you have a follow-up question, sir? Are you all set? Okay. Looking to see if there's any other questions. Yes, we'll go back over here. Right side of the room, please.
Yeah, Rob Mosley with Oregon again. Mia came here obviously to get to this stage. I wonder if either one of you has an impression of just kind of how she's kind of wrapped her head around, getting here finally, but then what she meant to you before she got hurt and kind of what her progress has been like back. Potentially, obviously, she could be a key if she can be kind of peak Mia tomorrow and going forward.
Yeah, I think this is her first time coming to March Madness, so it's been definitely kind of exciting to share that experience with her. It's definitely a milestone for her, and I'm proud of her. She puts a lot of work in on and off the court, and I see it. And she means a lot to this team, both being a leader, both communicating, leading the young guys, and also her playmaking or her scoring ability off the three and then getting to the foul line has helped us a lot throughout this season. And then when she went out for a little bit, it did hurt us a little bit. But, like KG always says, it's like an instinct for us, human nature, to have someone step up. And seeing her progress to rehab, doing all the rehab, it's been great. And she's slowly making that progress. And I think she's great right now. So she's been cooking in practice. So, hey, that's all I love to see. That's all I ask for her. So, yeah.
You guys were on a team that won an NCAA tournament game in the first round last year.
Yeah.
Does that give you guys any more confidence going into this year, or is there a certain mindset or attitude like you know what it takes to win a game in the NCAAs?
You answer that.
Yes, it does definitely give us a little bit of confidence to say that we were able to do that and we can still do this again this year. But it's like a whole different team. A lot of seniors left last year: Deja, Philly, Nani, Scotty, and a lot of young guys on this team. So using our youth, I feel like our energy, is gonna help us get through this first game. So excited, super excited.
Just a reminder, please just mention your name and affiliation before the questions.
David Cunningham, Tech Sideline. He feels like you guys have had a number of different players step up for you guys at different points this season. What do you like so much about your depth and how it's kind of shown itself at different times?
I mean, obviously that's what I like about it, that we have so many different players who can go off at any moment. So it's hard for teams to just focus on one because you never know what the other players might do, who might step up. But you can really always rely on our teammates to show up when we need them the most.
Rob Mosley with Oregon again. Is there a particular hunger for you to participate in a win?
Oh, because my sister's playing here. So
No. Because you didn't get into. I mean, you guys have gotten this question about the fact that you won a game last year, but you didn't play in that game. Is there like a?
Well, damn, Rob, calm down.
I wonder if there's a particular hunger for you to help your team get a dub at this stage.
Obviously, we want to win as much as we can, but that doesn't change that because I didn't play last year. I'm kind of because still want to win. I don't know. Katie, you? You didn't play last year either, did you?
Okay, now you thought. Yeah, we both didn't play, but look at us. We staying present. We here now. But hey, let's do it, man. Let's do it.
Danny.
Danny Davis, the Austin American Statesman. Obviously, Amina spent some time here before she transferred to Oregon. What has she meant to y'all's program since she got to Eugene?
Yeah, she means a lot to this program, both on and off the court. You know, she's such a ball of light and a ball of energy that, every time we come to practice, whenever we see her, she's the one player you can't look at or you're gonna laugh. She just brings that energy, that focus. You know, she's been at the next level, for March Madness. She's been in the later rounds, so she has that type of experience. So just her rebounding ability, her scoring ability, it's great. You know, I'm happy to have her on my side. So.
We have time for a few more questions, and we'll come back over here. Front row, please.
Mark Berman, the Roanoke Times. Katie, what makes you guys so good when it comes to getting steals and forcing turnovers?
Yeah, we hang our hat on our defense. You know, we're very particular in our rotations, our communication. You know, when we're communicating, when we're flying around, we're one of the best, I feel like, defensive teams. With our steals, our intensity, and just our grit, our grittiness. You know, diving on loose balls, blocking somebody. If it's not a easy layup, it's gonna be you gonna feel something. So we're just we hang our hat on that. So just our intensity on defense is very, very key to us and our success on this team.
Anyone else have any further questions for our two student athletes? All right, seeing none, I want to thank both Katie and Anise for joining us today, and congratulations on your impressive season to date. Best of luck tomorrow against Virginia Tech. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
All right. And a reminder that the Oregon locker room is open until 11:15, so 15 more minutes for locker room availability for Oregon. In a few moments, we'll welcome Oregon head coach All right, folks, we are now joined for today's first round pregame press conference by Oregon head coach Kelly Graves. Coach, welcome and congratulations on the season to date. Just very quickly, for those who are joining on Zoom, if you wish to ask a question, please use the raised hand function. We're going to ask Coach to make an opening statement, and then we will take questions from those people, those media members in Austin. Coach.
Oh, let's forego that. You got some questions? Let's go.
All right, then we're fine with that as well. Let's start over here, and then we'll come back on the front row onto the left. Yes, sir.
Rob Mosley with Oregon. You've been here a lot, but this is your only chance to come here for the first time with this group and kind of show up today, see the signage, see how they process it all. Just what were your impressions of kind of what went through your mind as you thought about them getting to this stage, but also kind of as they are taking it in, what you see from them?
Well, we talked about, traveling professionally, right? Not that we don't during the regular season, but, this is a little different level. The focus has got to be a little bit better than sometimes it might be. I'm just really excited for this group. I mean, they're a fun group to be around. I've enjoyed, practice daily with them and going through this journey with them, but they've worked really hard to get where we're at. I don't think this was a given at the start of the year. We've had a good season, and I'm just really happy to see what we can do from here. We're still a relatively young team in this new age where, everybody's got grad transfers or 5th or 8th year seniors. We're relying on some young kids and other kids that, haven't been had huge roles. So I'm interested to see how we do. And maybe that lack of experience might help us, I remember, 7 or 8, 9 years ago where we had a bunch of freshmen that made a deep run in this tournament, and they just didn't know any better. So the pressure didn't get to them. The moment wasn't too big, and I think maybe there could be a little bit of that in this group. At least that's what I'm hoping.
All right, next question right here.
Mark Berman, the Roanoke Times. Having spent some days watching Virginia Tech film now, what concerns do they pose for you, and what do you feel like you'll need to do well tomorrow to beat them?
Well, I did not know much about them. I remember saying when we first got who we found out who we were playing. I don't get the ACC network at home. I get everything else, and I am a basketball junkie. I love to watch games, and so I was unfamiliar with them. But after watching them about 8 games, full games, really impressed. I think they execute their roles really well. They've got obviously a couple great playmakers in Wenzel and Baker. Love their games, and then I think that the one who kind of stirs the pot and gets them going is number 3, their point guard Nelson. I love excellent point guard play, and have been very impressed with her. Her ability to catch and shoot, the 3 when she needs it. She does a great job, but she does an awesome job of getting downhill, getting into the paint, creating for others, and if Baker and Wenzel are allowed to get catch and shoot threes, they're a difficult team. So I think for us, our defense, it starts with transition. They're excellent in transition. I don't know how many times the other team scored. They push it. You look at this at the shot clock when they're making a layup at the other end, 26 seconds, 25 seconds. So they're scoring in 4 and 5 seconds on made baskets. So our transition defense has got to be on point. And then, one of our bigger weaknesses this year has been the defensive boards, and they're really good on the offensive glass. So we've got to do a good job there. And then they run so many pick and rolls that our ability to, identify the personnel. Certain players you've got to play for the drive. They're looking to attack off it, and then others like 10 and 1, Wenzel and Baker, they're gonna. If you go underneath, boom, they're going to make you pay. So it's going to be quite a riddle that we have to solve. And I've never coached against Megan. I know she's a really great young coach in our business, and so looking forward to the challenge. But it will be that definite challenge.
Thank you, Coach. Name and affiliation prior to asking you a question, please.
Aaron Fentress with the Oregonian. Can you talk about Ahisa's evolution and how maybe you challenged her? And would you guys be here right now if she hadn't evolved the way she did, especially in conference play?
Well, probably not. I'm sure somebody else would have stepped up, but quite frankly, she's been a godsend, and to see her development, how she's improved, certainly in the second half of conference play. Just look at the in our 3 games in the Big Ten tournament, she had 3 double-doubles, and not like 11 and 10 double-doubles. She had monster double-doubles. Just continues to get better. I think a lot of it is, she's the kind that I'm not sure she still believes how good she can be. We try to keep telling her, and now she's seeing it more and more, and I think she's starting to believe it, and that's why you've seen her numbers go up. But yeah, there are times when she's the only person we send to the offensive glass, and she still seems to get a whole bunch of them. I mean, she's just her nose for the ball on rebounds is among the best I've ever seen, certainly ever coached. And just, and she's a willing passer, so when we play through her in the low post, because sometimes, she's given up a lot of size to people, she's a willing passer and a smart passer. So, yeah, I'm really proud of her and impressed with how she's improved.
Before we
Thank you.
Before we take our next question here in Austin, a reminder to those joining us on Zoom, if you wish to ask a question, please use the raised hand function and you'll be called on in a few moments. Back to Austin.
David Cunningham, Tech Sideline. I wanted to ask about Mia. It seems like she's a senior. Your players are up here talking about this is her first experience, March Madness. What has she meant to your group, and what has stood out to her evolution throughout the season?
Yeah, she can be that X factor for us. Quite frankly, if she's shooting the 3 well, we become so much more difficult to defend. She's not 100% right now. She's at a point where she's going to require surgery as soon as the season's over. But like you said, this is her first NCAA tournament. She's not going to miss this. So she's playing through some pain, and doing the best that she can. But I think you're going to see a better Mia in the NCAA tournament than you have, in the last few weeks, just because she's getting healthier and healthier, and she was out for a good bit toward the end of the year. So, but she's meant a lot. She was our leading scorer for a good portion of the season. I think early on, there were games when she carried us, but I'm really happy for her. This has been a long journey for her, third different school, and she's never been part of this tournament. So trying to play it up, and I think she's going to have a good tournament. I really feel that.
Thanks, Coach. We're going to go to Zoom now. Aaron Slindy, please ask your question. Identify yourself and your affiliation, please.
Yes, Aaron Slindy, KVAL TV in Eugene. This is Coach Graves. What role has Ari kind of played on the team this season and getting to this moment?
Ari, can I use the term pest, menace? She's just one of those players that every team needs that, just makes things happen. Sometimes for the good, sometimes for the bad, but usually for the good. She just, we keep and track, and I have for 30 years, disruptions, tipping, getting tip balls, diving on the floor for loose ball, taking charges, those kind of things. We set a goal of 32 as a team, a game. And we win about 96% of our games when we get 32 or more. There have been games when she's had 20 by herself, and she's just one of those players that doesn't always show up in the box score in terms of huge scoring numbers, or rebound numbers, or assist numbers. But she's really important to who we are and what we do. It's one of our strengths this year. I keep looking over here, because I heard the voice over here, but
Yes.
there's nobody actually over there.
There isn't.
Right?
There isn't.
But yeah, she just makes things happen for us, and when we're at our best, we're creating defensively so that we can have transition opportunities on the offensive end, and she allows us to do that. That's when we're most efficient. So. Great kid, hard worker. Nobody spends more time in the gym than she does. She gets a lot of shots up. And, I'm really happy for her and to have this kind of moment, to shine on a big stage.
Aaron, do you have a follow-up question for Coach? All right, hearing none from Aaron, we're going to go back to Austin and Danielle.
Danielle Lerner, USA Today. You have so many players on your team who are in new roles this season, whether they're newcomers or returners. At what point in the season do you feel like those roles actually became defined, or are they maybe still not fully defined?
Well, I don't know if you ever fully, have the roles defined. Roles change, but I think our players have done a pretty good job of not accepting their roles necessarily, because they can evolve and change, but executing them. I think our players know, who should be getting the shots and when. We always talk in terms of our shot, not your shot or my shot. It's our shot. And we're like any team. We're evolving. But what I'm really proud of in this group is we didn't just go out and plug and play. We didn't go out and get a bunch of transfers to come and play. These are homegrown kids that, again, didn't play much. You look at Katie and Ahis, the two you already talked with here. They had very small roles last year. Ari, a supportive role. Sophia Bell to some degree, and that's 4 of our 5 starters. So, I'm proud of that. They've developed. They've gotten better. They figured out what they need to do to get playing time, and they're making the most of it. And I can say that on down. Sarah Rambus, and among others. So, yeah, good question. Thank you.
Danny Davis of the Austin American-Statesman. Kelly, one player may not be a homegrown player is Amina. She's been with you for 2 years, but what has she provided since she got to Eugene after starting her career here?
And I'm sorry, you said Amina? Yeah. Okay, I just zoned out there for a second. I liken her to a college pro, honestly. She comes every day, works hard. You don't notice her all the time. She just does her job. And last year in this tournament, she was huge. We don't win that first round game against Vanderbilt if she doesn't get an offensive rebound on a free throw to seal the game for us. So that's the kind of person she is. Nobody's really going to notice that. We do. And, she's one of those players that can defend the perimeter. She can defend the inside. Her role, because I think Ahis has kind of stepped up into a bigger role production-wise. Her numbers and her minutes have been limited a little bit. But she's still really important to us. And I think on this kind of stage, having played for Vic and having played for me, we're not the easiest guys to play for. She'll be, she's going to be ready for this moment, as she showed last year. So, again, we talk about X factors. You need your stars to produce for the most part, but I've been doing this long enough to know there's always that 1 or 2 players that step up in these kind of moments that you may or may not have expected. And I think Amina could be one of those. But she's awesome to be around. Great personality, just easy to coach.
Mark Berman, the Roanoke Times. Are the strong suits of this year's team much different than the strong suits of the team that won a game in the NCAA tournament last year?
Oh, we're completely different. Last year we were really guard heavy and veteran guard heavy. Deja Kelly, Peyton Scott, Nani Falatea, they were all 5th year or more. That was our starting backcourt, and we had a 4th year, center as well. So different team. So I am not exactly sure what we're going to see. We've played really good basketball this year, and we've really played some bad basketball, sometimes within the same game. So, but I think when we're good, we're a really good team. We're going to be a tough out for anybody, and that's the team I hope we see tomorrow and beyond, if that's the case.
All right, we're going to go back to Zoom again. And Aaron, just identify yourself one more time for your question, before your question, please.
Yes, Aaron Slindy, KVAL TV. A lot of the players we kind of talked about didn't really have a lot of experience the last time you guys went to the NCAA tournament, and now they do. Just how was kind of their determination, one, in choosing to stay at Oregon and not go elsewhere, and 2, just their determination in the off season and through the season to get to this point? How crucial was that in getting to this point?
Yeah, well, it's a really close-knit group, and I think, we had 9 returners, and all 9 returned. We didn't lose anybody to the portal, which is not that common anymore. So they were singularly focused on what they wanted to do, and we got a taste of the NCAA last year, got to the second round, and I think this team was hungry, wanting to do even more. So I think right from day one, they were committed to each other and committed to the process and committed to kind of getting back here. And we had some ups and downs, but we got here, and now we have a chance. And I've never worried about where we're seated, where we're playing, who we're playing. It's just how we're playing at this point. That's all we can control. So this group's been really, you've been around them. You've seen them. Again, I'm looking up there at the sky. and you know they are professional and you know they still have fun, but they work hard and they're really focused.
Erin, do you have a follow-up? All right, doesn't look like you do. We have time for a few more questions here. We're going to come back to Austin. Danielle?
Danielle Lerner, USA Today. With Katie, did you expect her to take as big of a leap as she has this season? And at what point, if there was a singular moment, did you kind of realize that she was really on that upward trajectory?
I did. I expected a lot of her right from day one. I think I knew what we had. You know, and she just didn't have a huge opportunity to play last year as a freshman behind those senior guards. She did have a breakout game in our first game in the NCAA tournament, and that kind of showed people, hey, we might have something here. But I've known Katie. Her brother was one of our practice guys when I was at Gonzaga. That's how long I've known that family, and so followed her. You know, winningest player in Washington high school history, 4 state championships. At Garfield High School, which is a big city school in Seattle. But she made leaps and you know, she just grew immensely. I think once she realized, hey, this is kind of my team, you saw how she embraced that role. And you know, even though she's just a sophomore, she's the one that's leading the group. She's leading the huddles. You know, leading practice, and that's not easy for someone her age, but she's got it in her. She has a lot of the same intangibles as some of the point guards I've coached, like Courtney Vandersloot and Sabrina Ionescu. You know, she's got that same mentality, and I think that's why, you know, you're seeing her succeed now, but she's still a work in progress. She's got a long ways to go, and she's going to continue to get better and better, but she's going to have a great pro future, I think.
Do we have any further questions from anyone here in Austin? All right, seeing none. Coach Graves, thank you so much for your time today.
My pleasure.
And
thank you
good
guys
luck tomorrow against Virginia Tech.
Thanks
thank
for
you,
being
Coach.
here.
All right, that will conclude our opening pregame press conference with the University of Oregon. A recording of this press conference will be